Good evening. Wanted to get another video out because last weekend we had the hurricane come through. We were very fortunate. Did not hit us directly. It skirted around. Hope everybody who was in the path of that are doing okay. We did have some tornadoes spin up, so anyone in the local area, hope you all are doing okay as well. Scary stuff, first time for us. But last weekend I was able to sneak out, but it rained most of the round, so I ended up pushing the cart with the umbrella. I just turned the unit off, pushed it. Wasn't terrible. I did have a couple holes where I was able to drive it, but I was afraid to take the phone out because the rain was just off and on. I was afraid if I took the phone out of the plastic bag and tried to record a video, I was going to end up killing my phone. So a couple things I wanted to cover tonight. This is my backyard. I am scheduled to play tomorrow. I really want to get on-course footage, but there's a 50% chance of rain tomorrow, and it's going to be in the 60s. So who knows what's going to happen. So I will have everything ready to go, but if not, I'm going to go over a couple things really quick with you all. I had promised to show setting up the Rovic RV1S with the unit. So I'll go over all of that from start to finish. I'm going to compare the size of the two units, and I'll probably get some footage going down the backyard. With the wheelie bars, I don't think my incline's enough to make it tip, but I might intentionally tip it back on the wheelie bars and show you that it'll drive without falling over. So first things first, size. I mentioned that the RV1S was a little bit smaller, a little more compact. Even front to back, this direction coming towards me, it might be a little bit taller the way the front wheel is tucked, but if so, it's not by much. I'll try to show that here. But all in all, I mean, it's much skinnier, tinier, and carrying them, it feels a little bit lighter, but still very well constructed. So nothing against the Model 8 four-wheel, has been really good for me. Really enjoyed pushing it. But I've already seen some where this has been way superior driving it with the eWheels. So most likely this might get sold, or one of my friends who needs a good push cart. Still perform fine with the eWheels unit, but what I've seen out of this has made me realize probably going this way. And since I have a bunch of young kids, I know better than to keep something taking up space that I don't need. So I'm gonna move the 8 out of the way. And so I'm gonna open this up completely. This one you got to remember to hit, as you can see, a little muddy from my time out, so you got to remember to flip the wheel forward, not let any of the little cords get hooked up. But once you do that, not bad. So hope everything's in frame. I'm going to try to make this as hard on me as I possibly can. So make sure both the little things that catch the wheelie bars are out of the way. Open her up. And I just realized I might have moved this too far forward out of frame. I don't know if I did. Just to be safe, let's go ahead and move this back. I want to make sure that I'm not doing all this and no one being able to see it. So I also give myself the added challenge that I'm on slope ground that's going to try to run away from me, but it won't be too terrible. So remember, get your gapping right on the other side. I know where it is with these. So for me, I get one side right. Remember to flip your wheelie bar over until it snaps. Come around to the other side. Pull the unit out, make sure everything's lined up. I like how nice and tight these things clamp. And then just the wheelie bar. Last but not least, let's get my bags running here once again. This is a stand bag, not necessarily what's meant for this, but I haven't not had any problems with the legs coming up or anything funny with this. I've only had it out the one time, and I pushed it for over half the round, but the times I did drive it, didn't see any challenges. And those might take notice, yes, I have extra towels on here because of how wet the rounds have been. The bottom strap is not, I'm going to have to go back and retighten it. It is loosened up on me. It's easy to adjust these, but I'm not going to do that on camera. I don't think it's going to try to get away from me. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to reposition the camera, get it so it's pointing, showing my yard, and I'm going to drive it around. Still have the remote in the nifty little sleeve. Still really like this sleeve and what it's showing. So, all right, 1 second. So one thing I wanted to show really quick is that right now it is on. The front wheel is in the lock position. I'm going to show you guys both locked and not locked. But one thing I noticed when I was driving it the other day is even though the front wheel is locked, it has this ability to slide left and right. So when it tries to turn, it turns better than dragging the four wheels. Even though it is kind of dragging it with that skid steer effect, it's not getting, it does give you a little bit more turn, and I really like it in the fixed wheel position. So hold on, I'm going to turn it around and get it driving. So here we go, fixed wheel first. I'm going to send it at a pretty good speed. As you can see, it is gradually following the hill left. If I tell it to correct and turn, or following the hill right, I apologize, I know my directions. If I tell it to turn up the hill, it's got a nice gradual turn. That's a lot more of a turn than I was getting with the four-wheel cart. So even in locked front wheel, it's doing a nice turning radius coming back to us now. And if this is right, it's going to keep turning down a little bit. It's holding the line. It's not too bad. It's not too steep. So I'm going to slow it down and have it turn in front of it. You can see that front wheel leaning over, hopefully. And it gives it a nice gradual turn. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring it back. And I'm going to intentionally get it going up the hill. And I'm going to actually have it set so that it's in the wheelie bar. It's in wheelie bar mode. I'm not sure if I can keep it that way, but I can try. Even stay back easy. I'm trying to bring it back on the wheelie bars, but as soon as I do pull it back on the wheelie bars going up that hill, it's immediately kicking back forward. They do a good job of rebounding it. So I don't think I'll be able to show it here. I did intentionally on the wet round, I had an umbrella on the top of it going up. I intentionally went up one of the steep tee boxes just to see. And I'm going to have this drive, I'm going to have it turn so you can see that front wheel kind of lean over as it turns. So you can kind of see how it leans instead of just dragging. It actually gives it a better turn. So, but one of the things I noticed, which was really nice, is that on the course, going up the steep tee box, it was real steep, it actually did bottom out on those and kept driving fine. And then once the front wheel got over, it immediately started driving. So I'm trying to show you turning it from a dead standstill, trying to go up the hill. It is sliding, but it's almost moving the back wheels. Doing this with the four-wheel cart, I almost got no turn at all. You'd have to get it going forward a little bit, cheat it and turn it, and it would go. So right now, I'm going to flip the little handle on the top. I'm going to bring it back to me. I'm being real lazy. I'm going to flip the handle so that the front wheel is now free moving. So now when we send it, you're going to see it really follow the hill down. It immediately took off left, but if I want to turn it, look how fast this thing will turn with that front swiveling wheel. I've got to go in a little tight circles if you had to maneuver it, and you'd want to slow it down, of course, but I can have it going, and so I'll have it going a little faster. If I want to course correct it, I just tap it. I'm just doing a little tap, whereas I had to hold it before, little tap. Each time I'm just barely tapping it to come across, and it'll keep going. The one thing I realized, though, is it wanders a little bit more with that front wheel spinning. So I just did almost a complete turn on a dime, but you have to pay a little bit more attention to it. And you got to be, a little bit more on it, because as you see, it's going to keep turning down that hill, but you can very quickly turn it. I realized that with this, there are things I like about this. Depending on the course, if I had to get it somewhere tricky, I would just slow it down a lot. I know that I can really turn it and weave it around places if I need to. But overwhelmingly for the courses I play, just because going up a fairway that has a little bit of slant to it, it's going to constantly wander. I'm going to leave that front wheel locked because I showed you guys it still turns better than the four wheel. Does not turn near as good as it does with this, but I'm going to get it going max speed and show you that even max speed, this turns quite well. This is max speed, and max speed in the other settings, it tells you won't turn well. But this, I can get it to turn even up the hill, is turning, this turns about as good max speed as the others do on the slowest speed having to drag it. So it still has a lot of maneuverability even at its max speed setting. So I hope that has given you guys a sense of what it can do. That was just holding pure back, and you can kind of see it turning because it's following the hill. If that didn't leave the video too soon. But it even backing it up, it kind of turns because it follows the hill. I have this going kind of slightly uphill, and as you see, it's going to keep slowly turning right back down the hill because it's going to follow that turn. And so I like the front swiveling wheel. there's times where I will use that. I will tell you, while pushing it, it's kind of nice because you can easily move left and right. But even with it in lock position, pushing it, it's not bad. I'm having to really give a lot of extra right at this faster speed when it's coming towards me because it just wants to follow that downhill. So I think it has both advantages to both freewheel and locked wheel. With it swiveling, you can really maneuver it, but if you're trying to get up the fairway quick and it's a slanted fairway, just know you're going to be constantly tapping that button trying to get it back online because it's going to wander. With it fixed, it still wanders some, but you have to tap it a lot less, and when you tap it, it moves it back a lot less, so it's less jagged at left and right. You can kind of lightly tap it and keep it dead on straight line. That's what I've seen so far. I'm really hoping that tomorrow the course is a lot is dry and that we don't get the rain that they're thinking we might get. If nothing else, I will try to get some footage as long as it's not too terrible out there. Hoping it's light rain. First time really get to play golf in a little while. I got to play a little bit last week, but it was so muddy and windy that not a lot to take away from it. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see this new cart, locked front wheel most of the time, but I'll do both. I'll find some areas where it makes sense, and if I can find a steep enough tee box, I will show you guys it bottoming out on those wheelie bars and how very effectively it does it. Somebody asked me, and I'm going to turn this around just to show you. Man, it turns so easy with the lock. Someone asked me what happens if you were to bump these down, so they're not snapped in anymore. And I can drive it like this if it's beneficial. It still stays clamped, your clamp's in. What's happened now is your wheelie bars kind of will bounce a little bit. This happened to me because I hit it with my foot and bounced one down. But what you'll notice is if it were to lift back up on you, the wheels are still touching the ground, the wheelie bars are. But if you were to go up incline, all it's going to do is snap them back in for you. They're going to bottom out, snap in, and be fine. But I'll show you, you can drive it. I have a fixed front wheel. And all it's doing is those little wheels are running against the ground now. And you can see I'm not having to hold almost any left, and it's tracking almost straight. It's a little bit to it. But now when I go to turn, I'm going to slow it down because it doesn't turn as well. Turning, I slow it down too much. So turning, it's a nice gradual turn compared to the fixed wheel. And up, ooh, I found the mud in my yard. So sorry, all that rain we've had, I forgot there is a muddy pit, and there's a hole over there where my kids and our new dog have been digging holes. So got to remember where that is so I don't drive it into it. That'd be bad, crashing the new cart. But it'll drive perfectly fine, does not affect steering or anything else. They're just kind of riding lightly on the ground, kind of bouncing around. But someone had asked me, I think it was on the forum, someone had sent me a message and asked me what happens if they come unsnapped. It actually happened to me on course, but I wanted to show you out here as well. They'll keep going and not have any problems. They're just riding along there. Once you finally get to a point where they'll stop and or you hit it. Actually, it looks like both of them snapped back in. I'm going to check because this is interesting to me. So, yeah, both of them have already snapped back in. So like I said, as soon as it gets to where it's lifting, it might be when I tried to do a turn up the hill, it leaned back on me when it got into that mud. And what happens is they bottomed out, snapped in. So good, I actually got a good example showing what I wanted to. But cart has been fun. I feel a lot better actually walking. I'm actually having energy at the end of the rounds. I do still owe you guys a 27-hole film. I have that planned. Just got to get a good enough weather day to do it. And I'm going to do my first 27 hole. But any questions, ask me. Hopefully I get you guys more footage tomorrow as well. So keep them coming. Thanks, guys.